Hi everyone, welcome to week 4. We're almost halfway through the week, so this video is a little bit later than in other weeks. I wanted to make sure that I had the exam number 1 study guide ready for you before I made the video so that you at least know where to find it and you can start studying for exam 1 next week if you haven't already started. Just a few things. First, I've updated all your grades through week 3. I really enjoyed reading your discussion boards. I'm not leaving comments right now on discussion boards just because you all are doing the discussion boards more often than you are assignments. But on assignments, I'll do individual comments for each one. Um, there were several themes that were very similar across people's discussion boards, especially that the NCAA needs to do a little bit more to make sure that there's some internal alignment within teams and across teams, and across sports as well. I think all of you will be interested to maybe follow this issue, not only from what you learned in this class, but because this is kind of an ongoing issue where it's not completely clear what role the NCAA will take in terms of name, image, likeness, and how to manage that a little bit better. And it's also not completely clear what legally they will be allowed to do in the future since the law just changed in the last couple years. So right now, you're really seeing kind of this frenzy of name, image, likeness, money coming in and people not being able to manage it well, schools not managing it well. One thing that I'm not sure anyone mentioned in the discussion board that's also an interesting dilemma is, well, really two things. One is this is not within an organization. So you can see what happens with pay when it's not within an organization that might have its own compensation system. So that's part of why there's kind of this wackiness or craziness around name, image, likeness, and how much pay some people are getting versus how little or none that lots of athletes are getting. The other thing that's really difficult for the NCAA is that they might be able to control some of this, but they're going to be competing against schools and athletic programs. So if you think about like even here at K-State, our athletic program may now be competing against its own athletes for getting donations because a lot of the work that they do is funded differently from the rest of the university and is often funded through donations and other people who support the sports program and the foundation as well. So that makes it a little bit harder to figure out what schools should be doing and how they should be helping their athletes versus is there conflict of interest for them because this may be money that they're losing. So it's a really interesting controversy, and that's why I made it a discussion board. Even if you're not super into sports or super into college athletics, I think it's a really interesting topic to be talking about. So let's talk about week 4. This is the last week that we have before exam number 1. Everything's up here already. I'm sure some of you have already started working on week 4 on the videos and the SmartBook activity. And then the discussion board, I think, is a really important issue that all of you should have an opinion on, even if that opinion might change as we learn more in this class about how compensation works within organizations. But a lot of people have lots of thoughts about raising the federal minimum wage, and it's very possible that people you'll even vote for potentially in November, if you do vote or can vote, could be changing that federal minimum wage at some point in the future. So having some sense of what this issue is and what your thoughts are, I think is really important. And that's what most of these discussion boards are really about, starting to form your opinions about some of these really important compensation issues in kind of the real world outside of what we're talking about in this class. So let me show you at the bottom of that screen is week 5, exam number 1. I only have one thing in it right now, which is the study guide. The study guide, if you pull it up, and let's see if it works. It may not work. Sometimes it's a little slow when I have Zoom on. It's going to just be a list of topics. The way that I created this was just going through all the notes that I made, the outlines for each of the textbook chapters. So you can use that to sort of follow along with some of the topics. See, it's going to be very slow about pulling this up. But you can download that. You can make your own notes. You can use that during the test. You can use your notes. You can use the PowerPoint. You can use the textbook during the test. You just can't work with other students during the test. And so later, what I'll do is either later this week or early next week, before Monday of next week, I should say, so this weekend, I'm going to try to give you some sample questions so you get a sense of what the questions will look like. Exam number 1 will be 50 multiple choice questions. You'll have all week to work on it next week, but it will be a 75-minute test. So once you start the test, you have to finish it in that 75-minute time frame. You can use your notes, the PowerPoints, your textbook. You just can't work with other students. And in fact, you will all get different questions because I'm using a test bank for this test. So even if you wanted to work with someone else, you won't have the same questions, so that won't help. But if you have any questions during the while you're going through the study guide, please let me know. I've just put topic names and sometimes things like questions under those topics if it's not completely clear, but it may or may not be clear based on the textbook when you're going through it. The other few things I wanted to remind you of is there's a career fair next week on campus. So if you're on campus, I have some career fair slides that Mallory Carpenter down in our career center here in the business school gave us and gave to my in-person class yesterday. There's a QR code in those that gives you kind of a tip sheet about how to work a career fair. So that might be helpful for those of you who are going to go look for an internship or a job after graduation at that fair. I also wanted to point out that there is a study abroad program in May through June this year. It's, I think, the third or fourth year that Mr. Minnick and Mr. Savage have been doing this program. It is usually it's like supply chain operations management, but students of any management major can get credit for it. There's also the opportunity to get finance credit if any of you need credit for a finance class. You can even do this program if you're going to graduate in May. So if you're interested at all, it's a really fun program. And they even have a list of where they're going to go visit, like which businesses and what they're going to do. Just click on that link. I have the link for the actual program and how to register for it. But I also have like a one-pager that they've been giving out with just basic information about the program. And then the last thing I want to do is just remind you of the Phillips 66 case competition. The registration deadline is this Friday. If you want to register, just email me or send me a message in Canvas and let me know. If you need teammates, you can have teams of 3 to 4 individuals. If you would like to be put on a team, let me know. I also have my in-person class who is sending me emails so we can find people who can match up. The first round is just a written report. The second round is a Zoom video. So you don't even need to be in Manhattan to do this competition and to work with other students. So that makes it open to our online students as well as those who might be on campus regularly. If you have any questions about what we're doing this week in class, exam number 1 next week, or any of these announcements, just let me know. Have a great week.